Do you want to give your small garden the wow factor? Would you like it to really reflect your own personal style? Well, the key to a small garden is a big idea. If you've got a larger garden, you can often let it evolve, and maybe there'll be a space that's a seating space and a space that's perhaps a little bit exotic and a place where you enjoy bulbs and things. But if you've got a smaller garden, you actually see it all from the house. So one big idea will really make it jump out at you and look absolutely gorgeous and, make everyone say, oh my God, the garden's looking fantastic. So I visited 3 small gardens that have big ideas to give you inspiration for your own small garden big idea. It's Alexandra here from the Middle Sized Garden YouTube channel and blog with tips, ideas and inspiration from real gardens for your garden. The first big idea in a small garden that I visited was a plant lover's garden. Now, you might think everybody who loves their garden loves plants, and obviously they do, but some people really love to collect different and unusual plants. And actually, this is where a small garden is actually fantastic, because if you dot just one example of a plant around a larger garden, things can get a bit lost and muddled. People talk about planting in 3s and 5s. Well, if you've got a small garden like 15 foot by 35 foot and you love collecting plants, then you can plant one of each different variety and you can really see them close up, you can enjoy the foliage, and it makes a wonderful sight. So I've gone to talk to a real plant expert, and he's called Philip Oostenbrink. So have you ever wondered what a head gardener does in their own private garden? At work, a head gardener might have acres, they would have staff, they would have budgets, they'd have facilities, and then come home in the evening to a garden that's very much like yours or mine. I'm here with Philip Oostenbrink, who is head gardener at Canterbury Cathedral Gardens, and his garden is near Canterbury, and it's about 35 feet long and it's about 18 feet wide.
It mainly is about foliage for me. So one thing that is quite a big feature in my garden is the Tetrapanax rex, which has massive foliage. This winter I was very scared that I'd lost it. So that's quite a feature. I use a lot of canners, which on this part of Kent as well, they're quite hardy. You can leave them in. I had Canna musifolia, for instance, just left that in. It came up really late, but yeah, it's probably about 50 centimeters tall now. So it's mainly about foliage with me, big foliage plants. I had a tiny garden in Herne Bay, which was several square feet almost, and just crammed it full with loads of tropical looking plants, and not all tender stuff, but also quite a lot of plants that just have big foliage, so like catalpa, for instance.
Philip combines big leaves and smaller leaves, and the total effect is lush and jungly. It's very much in a way a jungle themed garden, and actually even after just 1 year it's ready to be open for the NGS, and you can find descriptions, links to the NGS and other important information in the description below. For the next small garden big idea, the theme is Derek Jarman inspired coastal garden. Now, this came from Faversham Open Gardens and Garden Market Day, which is held on the last Sunday in June every year, and the owner was inspired by Derek Jarman's beach garden. And as Faversham is on the North Kent coast and it is a harbour, actually beach and coastal is very appropriate. This garden is about 15 feet wide at its widest, and it tapers down to about 12 feet wide, and it's about 35 feet long. It had an ordinary fence, it had narrow flower beds and a narrow lawn going down one side. So the owner painted the fence black in order to echo the fishermen's beach huts both on Dungeness and indeed at Faversham Harbour. And he replaced the lawn and the beds with shingle, which of course makes the whole garden look much wider and lighter. He's had a minimum number of plants. He originally wanted to stick to 6 plants, but there are probably about a dozen varieties of plants, and they grow directly out of the shingle, and they look absolutely delightful. And then he went to Faversham Harbour to the Iron Wharf, and he found a huge, great wooden yacht rudder, and it was about to go on the bonfire, so the person who was going to put it on the bonfire said, well, you can take it. And it now sits in the middle of the garden. It divides up the space, but in a very light way, and it looks like a modern sculpture. And there is, of course, there's some lovely found objects. There's an old hop ladder, there's lovely shells and bits of china. There's a raised bed just for things that don't really grow into the shingle. And all in all, the effect is completely delightful. The third small garden big idea belongs to my friend Amanda, and it's the smallest garden of all. It's only about 15 feet by 20 feet or something like that. And she picked an exotic theme, and she asked designer Thompson-Mcarthur to make that work for her. And he's done it by keeping it very simple but very striking. There's a number of easy to look after but very kind of exotic shaped plants like Schefflera, and I'll put some of those in the description below. And there's also a bench which kind of doubles up as a sculpture and a focal point, because Amanda can actually see her garden from her kitchen all year round. It's got complete glass walls. She has a couple of tips for people with very small gardens. She has a chair, which is a wire chair, and so it kind of almost transparent. So it's a great help not to have sort of things blocking out the view. And she also says that she wishes that she had put an automatic irrigation system in when she was redoing her kitchen, because of course by the time she got round to the garden, some of the kitchen floor was down, and it would have caused enormous damage just simply to run the plumbing from the house into the garden. So she says, you know, if you're doing anything in your house, do think about your garden. Don't think about it as a separate space. But otherwise, she's absolutely thrilled. The garden has wonderful lighting. It just looks gorgeous. Because the area is very small, you can see even the tiny details quite easily. So Amanda asked Thompson to make sure that every detail, even like the hooks and the wires, fitted in with the general atmosphere of a Georgian townhouse. So they're sort of slightly rusted wires and hooks. There are lots of ideas that you can pick as your big idea. For example, my friend Rosie has a pink themed garden. There's vintage, there's wildlife friendly, there's upcycled, there's sculpture garden. If you've got any big ideas for small gardens, do leave them in the comments below, because it's great when we all share ideas. And if you've enjoyed this, do press like, because it tells me you like to visit private gardens and I can do more videos like this. And if you haven't subscribed to the Middle Sized Garden YouTube channel, we upload on Saturdays with tips, ideas and inspiration so that you can make your garden look completely gorgeous but still have it really easy to look after. So I hope you'll join me. Thank you for watching. Bye.